Hey guys, I'm Evan Holiday and I'm an affordable housing developer and impact investor, and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the importance of quality architectural design in developments, and also why does that matter and how you can input this into your next project. So real quick before we get started, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and like this video for more content just like this. So let's dive in. I want to start off first with a quote from the man himself, Mr. Winston Churchill. He said that we shape our buildings, thereafter they shape us. I think that puts it in a nutshell of exactly what we're going to talk about today and why it's so important to incorporate great design into everything you're doing, especially your developments or your next building. So let's dive into 4 reasons why quality architecture is important. Number 1 is economics. This is probably the biggest domino of them all, because if your project is not economically viable, if you can't make money on it, if you can't make a return for the investors, then at the end of the day, we're not going to have a project, we're not going to have a development, you're not going to have a building. So that's always the biggest domino, is does it make financial sense? And even within that, I think you have to think about, okay, why are certain cities successful? Like why do tourists, why do you flock to certain cities like Austin or Miami Beach or Washington, D.C.? Like why do people go there? Why is it cool? Why do you remember that city? And why does that leave a lasting remark on you, or a lasting image in your head, and a lasting experience? And think about how certain cities attract tourists, like Washington, D.C., like Miami Beach, like Austin, Texas. And how much of an economic return that is for the city, for the buildings, for the owners of the buildings, and how that creates, the great design of certain cities creates, people just flocking to invest and check out and do business in those cities. So I think that's really important to think about, not only for each building, but also even for cities at that level. And also within the economics and the financial feasibility of a development, I think the best designed buildings are those that are designed well, but also done within the budget. But it's not easy. Affordable architecture is not easy. It's probably one of the hardest things to do, but being intentional about that is what can actually separate your building and be able to create that financial feasibility, that economic viability, and really long-term success, financial success of your building or your development by building affordably, but also well designed. And I think that involves having an entrepreneurial mindset for the architect, for the developer. Think creatively, saying how can we think outside the box, think outside the norms, and figure out creative ways to design a well-designed, beautiful building that people are going to be proud of, but yet something that is financially feasible. Next is quality of life. And just like that Winston Churchill quote that we talked about earlier, your buildings have such an effect on the people that work in them, that live in them, that visit them, both inside and outside the buildings. They have massive effect of the way we feel, the way we think, our energy levels. And that can, if you have a well-designed building, you can have people, reach higher levels of productivity, be happier, be more fulfilled, collaborate more, be just overall happier. Think about spaces that inspire you. Are they light-filled? Are they open? Are they uncluttered? Are they well-designed? Do they match? Do they feel good? Do they flow? And then think about spaces that just you detest, you hate, and say, okay, well, what are they? Cluttered? Are they messy? Are they outdated? Are they dark? Maybe you're like, hey, I don't even know what time of day it is because this building is so dreary and it's so dark and there's no windows. Thinking about that, like what the buildings have an effect on you and what inspires you and what doesn't inspire you. And a little example, so we're here at our home office, we have our team that joins us, our Holiday Ventures team that joins us here, and we ended up putting these big glass doors right in the front of the office because we wanted as much natural light as we could get, and that has a massive impact on everybody's morale and just excitement and just having that natural light here in the office. Then there is creating flow. And what I mean by that is think about a building or think about your office or your home, like getting from point A to point B, being able to move throughout a building efficiently has massive effects on our efficiency within our business, efficiency within our life, and just, feeling like you're not wasting time getting through a building. I think that's really important because in every aspect of our life, it has a major effect on what we're doing. So think about like hospitals. A well-designed hospital and a well laid out hospital can create the flow needed to literally save somebody's life. A school that's well designed can lead to better learning, better education, better empowerment of students, and even a better well-designed community like what we do with Holiday Ventures. We do mixed use, we do residential communities, and within those communities, we always are intentional about thinking, how can we make an empowering community? How can we empower our residents through our design, through the design of our hallways, through the design of our lighting, through the design of our landscaping? How can we create community, collaboration, and just overall fulfillment? And one thing we always think about is, within your communities or developments or buildings, you're literally affecting people's lives 365 days out of the year. Don't you think that would have a massive impact on people if you were intentional about creating flow? I think that's so important to think about. And finally, driving progress and innovation. I think one of the fun things about what we do in design and development and architecture is we have the opportunity, we have the privilege, the responsibility to create the buildings of the future, the buildings of tomorrow, and push the envelope of how we're doing things. I mean, you think about what you have the potential to do and design today could literally be the building of the future. It could be the mold, the model that everybody follows here on out, because you were intentional about good design, good quality. And that also has long-term effects of like being able to have a building that lasts for 50, 100, 200 years. Like think about the well-designed buildings within Europe that are still around today and we still go visit because it's cool, it's unique, it's timeless. How can we build buildings today that are also going to evolve to new needs of the future? Like nobody could have predicted the pandemic and the work from home movement. And now we're going into this phase where people are working, partially in the office, partially work from home. How do we adapt to this age of Zoom within our buildings? And next, there's so many endless innovations within technology. Our buildings are inevitably going to change, but I think that's a beautiful opportunity for us as builders and developers and designers. And really to kind of wrap this up and bring everything together, I think we really have the opportunity and really to create that really great design. I think you need to think about like 3 different circles of what great design is. So there's the build quality itself, and that's a lot of what we talked about today, is like the quality of the building, the quality of the community, the quality of the materials. And then there is functionality. So thinking about the flow of the building, how does it work? Do people enjoy being in that building? Does it work well for progress and efficiency? And then finally, impact. How are you impacting the residents? How are you positively changing the lives of the workers that come into the office or the residents that go home and sleep at their apartment or their house? How are you having that massive impact? So thinking about those 3 circles, I can't hold 3 up, but you know what I mean. 3 circles, and right in the middle, where do all 3 of those overlap? That is great design, where you can have all 3 in your buildings. And I think it takes intentionality. It takes intention of design, well-designed communities. It takes more time. It takes more work. But I've noticed in what we're working on, the designs and communities we're working on, we have massive opportunity here to create something that's meaningful and impactful and different and unique, and create something that people are proud of to call home or to call their office. I think that's one of the coolest things and the biggest parts of our job and our day-to-day is thinking and being more intentional about that. And I do want to leave you with one of my favorite developers and one of my kind of mentors that I always look up to is a developer named Gerald Hines. So he started and led Hines Company for many, many years. He's since passed, but Hines Company has become one of the biggest developers in the world, literally the world. And his whole philosophy was built on how can he make a better designed building than everybody else, and that will lead to the longer term financial viability and success, ultimate success of his developments, because he thought about design. That's what it comes back to, is like design leads to longer term success. It leads to better impact for the residents and the workers and people that interact with your communities, and that is so cool. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this added value. I hope that it kind of makes you think about things differently and think about design differently. and thinking about how you can be more intentional about incorporating good quality design in your next development or your next project. And guys, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also like this video below. And then we also are going to put some links to what we're working on and the kind of the design that we're working on as well below this video. But guys, with that, have a great day.